Welcome back, painting friends. Today we are going to paint a cabin in the woods. Colors you're going to need: red, yellow, pink, white. I actually mixed my dark brown and light brown because I wanted a medium brown. Teal, purple, blue, and black. I always have my favorite 4 brushes down on my painting studio. I got my 1-inch flat brush, 10-6, and 1 round brush. Remember to have a cup of water and a rag for keeping those brushes clean. And if you enjoy what you're seeing here today, make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you're kept up to date on all of the tutorials. So let's get started. I'm going to start off by making a big arced line right here in white paint. And everything above that, I'm just going to throw some white in there to help mix my sky color. I'm going to start off with some yellow up here in the corner. Again, just kind of pulling that color down. I'm okay if some of that white shows through. To me, it just kind of looks like some clouds. And then I'm going to wipe that brush off, and I'm going to start in the bottom area with some pink. And I'm just going to pull that pink up into that yellow area and let them just kind of start playing a little bit together. Nothing too crazy. And maybe pull some of that yellow down into the pink. You can go ahead and wipe that brush off. I don't really have to wash it off, but I can keep it dirty. And I'm going to grab some blue paint and some purple paint on there. And I'm just going to kind of paint the rest of this in with a dark blue purple color. I do want to imagine that this is kind of a background of hillside. So I'm just going to take this purplish color and pull some of it up. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of tap some of those colors on there so that it looks as though there's something going on in that background. So I'm just taking my 1-inch flat brush and just kind of tapping it and turning it. Not wanting to go over where I made those lines, but when I get to those lines, it's okay to follow them up. So they don't have to be clean or neat. And then I'm going to do that same motion just to get that texture on there as I kind of go down to where the bottom of those lines are. Go ahead and wash that brush off really good. And then I'm going to go in with that same brush and white paint. And I'm going to make a line where my lake is. So I'm just going to make a line across. And I'm going to just paint that in white. I want to leave some of those side-to-side brush strokes. And then we're going to leave this be. When we come back, when it's dry, we're going to add in that cabin. We're going to finish off that water and, of course, fill in those trees. All right, I'm going to take my number 6 round brush and some blue paint. With that, I'm going to add a little bit of white paint to it. So I got a little bit of a lighter blue. And I'm going to make my background trees. And these are just going to be long, skinny lines kind of coming down. They do not have to be straight. I don't think I want them to be straight. I love how that's coming down like that. Make sure that they're, look, I just did exactly what I was going to tell you guys not to do. Make sure they're not all the equal distance apart. So I can add a little bit more white to make this one look a little bit further back. The whiter they are, the further back they look. Little fun, fancy trick. Now, from there, I'm just going to wipe that brush off, and on the one side, I'm going to say this right-hand side, I'm just going to add white paint, kind of coming down that side. Love that. I'm going to wipe that brush off and go ahead and lay out my cabin. Now, if you would like a cabin that is not a a little triangle shape, you can always turn yours into a rectangle. Totally up to you. But I'm going to take that light brown, dark brown paint mix that I have on my palette with my number 6 round brush. And just right here, I am going to make a big old triangle. Okay. And I'll just paint that in all the way. And then I'm going to add a little chimney over here on this side, just a small little rectangle going up. I'm going to wipe that brush off, and I'm going to grab some yellow paint and mix it in with just a little bit of my brown paint. I want to lighten part of that up to give it a little bit of a highlighted area on my cabin. So a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow, and I've got this really great lighter brown color. And what I'm going to do is I am going to divide this into 3 sections. So section number 1 will be right here. I'll leave a little space. Section number 2 will be right here. And then section number 3 will be the bottom part. We'll leave that open for windows and stuff. But I'm just going to take these lines and kind of pull them down. You can even add some straight yellow in there. Just for my wood grain. You can even maybe add a little bit of white in there too. And then pull those colors down as well. That's perfect. I like what we have going on right here. Up at the top, I'm going to make my first window. So I'm just going to grab some white paint to kind of lay it out. And my first window is just going to be right here in the top section of this. Yes, I'll have to go back in and add color to it. I know that. But we're just going to lay it out, lighten it up a little bit. My second section, I'm not going to have any windows in it. But down here at the bottom, I am going to add 2 windows over here. I'm going to put a rectangle right here for my door. So we'll go ahead and add some white to those. Wash that brush off really good. I'm going to go in with white paint, and right here at the top of my chimney, I'm just going to kind of make some swoopy smoke coming up. I kind of felt like that blue tree looked like the smoke, and I didn't want that to be the smoke, so I wanted to put some smoke coming out of there. And then with that same brush, I'm going to go ahead and lay out where my big trees are while this dries a little bit. So I'm going to take some dark blue paint, and right here, I'm going to lay out one of my pine trees. Actually, I might make just one. Oh, I don't know what to do. Do I make 1 pine tree or 2? I think I might just make 1 pine tree right at the front of the house. I'm okay with that. And then down here in the water, what I'm going to do is I want to kind of mimic where my house is. So I'm going to wash that brush off, get the blue off of it. I'm going to go in with some of that brown paint, and I am going to make a very light line of where my cabin would be in the water. And I'm just going to kind of paint back and forth over that area. Very, very, very light brush strokes of brown. So this is almost what you would call like a dry brush technique, where you don't have a whole lot of paint on your brush, but you are just kind of taking the little bit of paint that's on there and brushing it dryly across the canvas. You do not have to stay within your lines. You can go outside your lines a little bit. Water moves. It's okay for there to be a little bit of movement in there. And then right here along the bottom, I'm going to switch over to my number 10 round brush and I'm going to add some snow. Okay, so right along here, I want to just add some snow to kind of show where the separation between the cabin and the water is. All right, we're going to let this dry. When we come back, we will finish off those details. With a dry background, we are going to finish off our cabin. So I'm going to take a little bit of white paint and a little bit of yellow paint on my brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill my windows in one more time. I'm not even going to wash that brush off, but I am going to add a little bit of red paint to it, and I'm going to paint my door in red. And the reason I'm not washing the brush off is I really want that red to be a nice bright red color. And then from there, I'm going to take my brush with a little bit of that brown paint, and I'm going to line out just a couple of areas. So there's going to be a straight line across here, okay? But then everything above that, I'm going to take brown and a little bit of white, and I'm going to go back in and make these a little bit more defined lines. So brown and white. I really want that to be a lighter color. Perfect. I love that now. So now I'm going to go with black paint, and I'm going to make a black line right through here. Kind of really separate that top and bottom part of my cabin. I'm going to take that black paint and just go just inside the roof line of my cabin. I want this to almost look like a shadow once that snow is on there. I'm going to take that dark brown paint and go ahead and outline my windows. I'm going to take a little bit of black paint and just make some lines that go top to bottom, kind of show where maybe some of the wood planks might be. And with that black paint, I'll also go ahead and add the window panes. I think I'm going to do 1 down and 2 across. I can even go in with a little bit of yellow and white. Maybe make a window on my door. And a little black handle too. All right, my next black line will be right here between this center area and my door. I'll go ahead and outline my door with that dark brown, just to kind of clean it up. Then I can make that black line go all the way across there too. All right, up here on my log cabin, I'm going to take a little bit of white and a little bit of black, mix them together, maybe even a touch of brown in there, So I'm going to get like a grayish brown color, and I am going to put some stones on here. So just a kind of a dirty brush, and you can go in and you can just set your brush down, and it'll give you different colors for that stone. Have a little stone on the top of your fireplace. All right, let's leave this be for right now. We'll come back to it when it dries a little bit. Let's look back down here at our water. So I'm going to take a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow, and we are going to kind of paint in where some of those windows might be. I can even add a little bit of red in there for my door. And then right here along the bottom of this water line, I'm just going to kind of make a little squiggle of this teal blue color. All right, let's look at this big old tree over here. Let me zoom us out and we'll look at that big old tree. To make this tree, I'm going to start off with some blue paint with just a little bit of purple. And I'm going to start off by making a triangle up here at the top. And then just below that, I'm going to make one that's a little bit larger, a little bit larger. I'm just going to bring those triangles out as they go down. Now from there, I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to kind of pull lines up towards the triangle top, okay? So I'll start down here at the bottom. I will just pull lines with that blue and purple mix, pull lines up towards the top. And the reason we're starting at the bottom and not the top is that we want to have these fuzzy edges going over the ones below it. So I've got this section right here done. What I'll do then is I'll take some white paint and I will set a couple of white spots right on top of that. Then I'll go up to my next layer of triangle. Same thing, I'm just going to pull some lines up to the top. Let's look back over here at our log cabin, and it's time to add some snow onto that log cabin. So I'm going to take that teal paint and white paint, and right here along the bottom, I'm just going to kind of paint a line of teal and white just above that black line we put on there. Then on top of that, I'm going to paint a nice fluffy layer of white paint on the top of this cabin. We're going to do the same thing with the top of our windows. We'll just add a small little bit of blue, and then we'll put some white on the top. So a little bit of blue at the top of that brown we put around the window, and then some white on the top. I'm going to add a little bit of white in the corners of the windows. Maybe some of that snow has kind of fallen and stuck. Make some little icicles right along these. So I'm just going to take some white paint, that number 6 round brush, and tap it on there, and I'm just going to make some of them go down a little bit so it looks like there's some icicles on these ledges of this cabin. And then I'll even put some right on the edges of some of these rocks. All right, let's go ahead and put our handrail in up here. I'm going to grab some black paint, and I'm going to make a handrail that just kind of goes across the front of my cabin. And I'll make some lines that go down. We'll add a little bit of paint, white paint to the top of that. See where that snow is kind of sitting on the top of that handrail. We can even draw that handrail a little bit on that water. All right, let's look at the top of this picture to finish out our painting. All right, up here at the top, we are going to take a little bit of dark blue and black on our number 10 round brush. And I'm going to make, actually I think I'm going to add some white to it also. So dark blue, black, and white. And I am going to add some really messy kind of branches and bristles at the tops of these trees, okay? Okay, when that is finished, I'm gonna go ahead and wash that brush off really good. Now I'm gonna go back in with white paint with my number 6 round brush, and I am going to add lines of white, and I'm talking like thick white paint along these, so that it looks as though there's some on like the top of each of those branches. Go back in with that light blue that I made before with my branch for my trees back there. I'm just going to make a couple of little lines out. Some of those really tall pines have some lines that kind of break off of them. And then let's go in. My favorite thing to add, snowflakes, right? So back of my brush, I'm going to add snowflakes all over this background. And there we have it. We've got our little winter wonderland. Remember that when you are painting at home, I never get to see what you're painting unless you send it to me at our Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you are kept up to date on all of the tutorials. And when you are finished, find a color that's going to show up well on your canvas and sign your name. Remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.